What is an aesthetic physique and how do you build one? Your view on what an aesthetic physique is going to vary from person to person. My view is going to be different from your view. There's plenty of videos already on YouTube answering these questions. Now, I haven't watched any of them, but I can almost guarantee there's two things that they didn't mention that I'll get to later on in this video. Your typical view of what an aesthetic physique is going to be your David Lade and Alex Eubank type physiques. My personal opinion would be C-Bum. Look at this guy's physique, his muscle insertions, everything. The only reason why people wouldn't consider him to have an aesthetic physique is because he has too much muscle mass. But before I go further, we should all know that genetics play a huge role in how aesthetic you're going to be able to get your body. So what do the Alex Eubanks and the David Lade physiques have in common? They have their huge chest, developed and wide shoulders, a narrow waist, lean without having too much muscle mass, and of course, abs. I don't think it's as simple as train these muscle groups and you're going to get aesthetic. Most people don't even train their muscles properly in the first place. For instance, shoulders. It isn't just spamming lateral raises and you're going to get big shoulders. It's a difficult muscle group to progressively overload weight on. You're going to need to get your form down. And trust me, I know about bad form. For your side delts, to give you that rounder look and make you look as wide as you possibly can. You could do heavy partials to train them in the length position. You could do wire raises to train them in the shortened position. But this is only going to make you look wider from the front. You still need to be working your rear delts and your front delts so that from the side, it gives you that overall bolder shape of a looking shoulder. Chest genetics, in my opinion, is going to be the biggest factor in how aesthetic you look. And well, you can't change your genetic, but that doesn't mean give up. You still need to train your chest to ensure you make it look as big as you possibly can. This includes developing your upper chest to give you that shelf type look. For most people, that means stop arching on your incline presses. It also means change the angle that you're doing on cables so you're just not primarily working your front delt instead of your upper chest. But with developing the upper region of your chest, it's going to make your chest look fuller and therefore bigger. That being said, train your lower chest too. Now here's one thing that most people probably didn't mention: your posture. Even with good genetics, having bad posture is going to make you look way less aesthetic. Having a rounded upper back and your shoulders lean more forward, it's not going to give you that wide upper body and narrow waist look that we all want to look more aesthetic. And nowadays, with everyone looking down at their phones or using computers, their posture goes downhill. You can easily see the difference with how small my chest looks when I have bad posture compared to when my shoulders are back and I'm sitting upright, which stretches my chest out more, giving me that more aesthetic look. I'm not going to know the reasons of why your posture is bad. Usually it's going to be to do with tight chest or lat muscles, or your upper traps or erector spinae, or something in your upper back region being too weak of a muscle to be able to keep your shoulders back. So what I'm going to recommend is go to Squat University or someone similar along the lines of type of YouTube videos and just watch their videos and see how you can increase those smaller muscles that you don't necessarily hit when you're on a back day or whatever other type of exercise day that you're doing. When we think of aesthetic physiques, we mainly think about the front of your body, but your lats are also going to come into play in giving you that V-taper look and in keeping your waist looking narrow and your upper body looking wider. This is also going to depend on genetics. If you have very low lat insertions, you're going to have a more blocky looking waist, so you can't really change that. And with your upper body looking wider, even if you don't have the most narrow waist, it's going to give the impression that you do. I'm not going to recommend the JPG lat pull down that basically is taking over everyone's gyms. What I'm just going to say is do a converging lat pull down and pause at the bottom for 1 to 2 seconds, or do some other type of neutral grip row or pull down. Now, I've never really cared too much about abs, since I know that if my body fat is a low enough percentage, then you're gonna see my abs anyway. But abs are also, like I've been mentioning, extremely based on genetics. Some people are going to have way more predominant abs than others. They are aesthetic. You're going to want to develop your abs, and not by doing all these crazy ab circuit routines that you see on social media from guys who genuinely just have insane ab genetics. Abs are just like every other muscle group. You're gonna need to train them and progressively overload in order to develop them and make them look more predominant, even at higher body fat percentages. But you need to be flexing your spine in order to actually contract your abs and then fully extend and stretch them by maybe placing a foam roller or something underneath your back. Now this next one, I know you're not gonna wanna hear it. Legs. Oh, Ikari, legs aren't aesthetic? Shut up. As someone who couldn't even skip leg day because I never even put leg day in my split to be able to skip it. But I'm telling you, you need it so you look proportionate. I don't care what anyone says. The dudes that compete in men physique, they don't look aesthetic. Their upper bodies are insane. And I mean, insane. I will never have an upper body that will look like that. You see their legs and their legs are twigs. It's not aesthetic, it's not nice to look at. So start hitting leg day. That being said, whether you're a beginner or you've been training for a while, you don't need to train just for an aesthetic physique. The reality is genetics exist. You're not going to be able to do anything about it. Don't stress over whether the fact your chest genetics aren't good enough or your shoulder genetics aren't good enough. Just train them and get your physique to its pinnacle, to the best it absolutely can be. No matter what you do, you're not going to have a chest like Arnold unless your genetics are like Arnold's. But there's no point wasting your time and thinking about things that you can't change. Like for me, arms are probably one of my best points. David Lade and Alex Eubank don't have big arms or look way smaller because their chest and shoulders are just that much bigger than the rest of their muscle groups. My arms are a strong point for me. So I'm going to blast the fuck out of my arms to get them as big as I possibly can. Because you don't see anyone say, oh, but Alex Eubank has skinny arms, but David Lade has skinny arms. Because no one cares because their chest steals the show. So if I have huge arms, when people see me, they're gonna be like, oh my God, that guy's arms are huge. They're not. But you get the point.